Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. Today we are once again going to go through another book. Another rather amazing book, I'm sorry. What is this book going to be about? Let me see. Let me see what I can find on the civers.rs site, or I think the former civers.com, as far as I remember, and for whatever reason he changed it. Maybe the case, but I may also just be completely wrong. Anyway, let's actually scroll down all the way. I think it is not, well, it is. Ignore Everybody by Hugh. It's Hugh. Loud. Brilliant. Wisdom on creativity from an artist. Seth Godin says, it's Hugh, it's not huge, but Hugh, harangues and encourages and pushes and won't sit still until you, like him, are unwilling to settle. I highly recommend this to all musicians, artists, and entrepreneurs, even those that prefer not to read much. I do just, already know what this might be about. It might be about focusing on those people that you want to serve, as Seth Godin also has been talking about it for quite some time now, also in his books. By the way, really, really, really amazing books. But yeah. The Geography of Bliss dives into Iceland, Bhutan, Holland, Switzerland, Thailand, and so on and so forth. How We Decide by Jonah Lehrer, Lehrer. I think this is going to be the next book. It's going to be the next one. I guess that I haven't gone through this one already. I may be wrong, but going through a good book twice may not be bad. Brilliant book with one clear message. Our emotional brain is faster and usually smarter than our logical brain. Our emotions are trained by years of logic and experience, retaining it all for real wisdom. Many decisions are better made by going with the gut, not by doing with the gut feelings. Gets a little too technical with deep brain /neuro/cortex talk, but brings it back to usable points as well. So the book, by the way, is called How We Decide, if I haven't mentioned. The orbitofrontal cortex, or OFC, is responsible for integrating visceral emotions into the decision-making process. It connects the feelings generated by the primitive, quote-unquote, brain areas, like the brainstem and the amygdala, but I think it is called amygdala, which is the limbic system, to the stream of conscious thought. Always when I'm reading limbic system, I do immediately, and this just may be the association that I'm having with the amygdala, which apparently is an almond-sized part of the brain, as far as I also remember, called, not officially, definitely not officially, but the reptile brain or something, which kind of is the only thing reptiles have, the amygdala, or just this part. It may not be the complete same thing, it may just be a bit of a different quote-unquote version of it. But anyway, this is also one of the reasons why this part is quote-unquote responsible, and is responsible for us, either freezing or fight or flight when we are in certain situations. It's like this pretty primitive part of our brain, as far as I remember. I may also be totally wrong here, but as far as I remember, this should be the case. When a person is drawn to something, the mind is trying to tell him that he should choose that option. It has already assessed the alternatives. This analysis takes place outside of conscious awareness and converted that assessment into a positive emotion. And when he sees an option he doesn't like, or she sees an option that she doesn't like, it is the OFC that makes him want to get away. The world is full of things, and it is our feelings that help us choose among them. And our feelings are also a pretty great way to see when things are not moving into the right direction. So negative feelings, and this is something that I've been talking about for quite some time, I do think that negative feelings are very important for the singular fact, and probably also more reasons, that they show us certain things. They show us certain things that we probably wouldn't even see otherwise, which is important, therefore, But yeah. Emotion and motivation share the same Latin root, movere, I guess, which means to move. Emotion and motivation. Feelings are often an accurate shortcut, a conscious expression of decades worth of experience. They already know how to do it. The human brain is like a computer operating system that was rushed to market. And this is why a cheap calculator can do arithmetic better than a professional mathematician, why a mainframe computer can beat a grandmaster at chess, and why we so often confuse causation and correlation. When it comes to the new parts of the brain, evolution just hasn't had time to work out the kinks. The emotional brain, however, has been exquisitely refined by evolution. Over the last several 100 million years, its software code has been subjected to endless tests so it can make fast decisions based on very little information. As it should be, but the problem that I'm still having is, it is a decision. Is it, first of all, the best decision? And or, more importantly, am I influenced? Is my brain influenced by certain things? For example, I may not feel like working out. It's a feeling, but I'm still going to do so because I rationally, with my head and my brain, can think and probably anticipate that it is going to be the better option in the future, which I don't really know if the amygdala is able to do so. If the amygdala is looking into the future, trying to evaluate the future and what to do about things. I don't know. The human brain is, I've read that already. The process of thinking requires feeling, for feelings are what let us understand all the information that we can't directly comprehend. Reason without emotion is impotent. After the ACC receives input from a dopamine neuron, spindle cells use their cellular velocity. They transmit electrical signals faster than any other neuron to make sure that the rest of the cortex is instantly saturated in that specific feeling. Which is, I think to some degree, it is a good thing, when it is about running away from things. Being able to do that very, 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 very fast. On the other hand, if it is about, depression, and I do not even know if this works in the same way, or if I'm just completely off here. But having a brain, quote unquote, or maybe even literally full of depression may not be the best thing. May also kind of explain why then this is influencing big parts of our lives, because apparently it is just all over the place then. Human emotions are rooted in the predictions of highly flexible brain cells, which are constantly adjusting their connections to reflect reality. Every time you make a mistake or encounter something new, your brain cells are busy changing themselves. Our emotions are deeply empirical. Also, something that I've seen, maybe also have read before, I'm actually not quite sure, but emotions can make you learn faster, which is also one of the reasons why when we think back in our timeline in our life, we most often remember things that are highly, highly emotional. I don't know if your first kiss. Is there something going on there? No. A time where you've had a near-death experience, whatever it might be, something really, really emotional, and period. So, on the other hand, can I use it? Can I use this to learn faster, to learn better? there's so much information up to this point, or at this point of time, about learning better, learning more efficient, and so on and so forth, which is amazing. But a lot of people do not use it, unfortunately. I would at least guess. I'm not sure. Dopamine neurons automatically detect the subtle patterns that we would otherwise fail to notice. They assimilate all the data that we can't consciously comprehend, and then once they come up with a set of refined predictions about how the world works, they translate these predictions into emotions. These wise yet inexplicable, apparently, feelings are an essential part of the decision-making process. Even when we think we know nothing, our brains know something. That is what our feelings are trying to tell us. This doesn't mean that people can't coast on those cellular emotions. Dopamine neurons need to be continually trained and retrained, or else their predictive accuracy declines. Trusting one's emotions requires constant vigilance. Intelligent intuition is the result of deliberate practice. For Bill Roberty, his success has a simple explanation. I know how to practice. I know how to make myself better. Roberty brought a book on backgammon strategy, memorized a few opening moves, and then started to play and play and play. You've got to get obsessed. You've got to reach a point where you're having dreams about the game. I could just glance at the board and know what I should do. The game started to become very much a matter of aesthetics. My decisions increasingly depended on the look of things, so that I could contemplate a move and then see right away if it made my position look better or worse. It's not the quantity of practice, it's the quality. The most effective way to get better is to focus on your mistakes. In other words, you need to consciously consider the errors being internalized. Searching for his errors, dissecting those decisions that could have been a little bit better, he knows that self-criticism is the secret to self-improvement. Negative feedback is the best kind. An expert is a person who has made all the mistakes that can be made in a very narrow field. The experience of failure had been so discouraging for the quote-unquote smart kids that they actually regressed. The problem with praising kids, and this is going to be the last paragraph, for their innate intelligence, the quote-unquote smart compliment, is that it misrepresents the neural reality of education. It encourages kids to avoid the most useful kind of learning activities, which is learning from mistakes. And I do think that making mistakes is indeed important, but not consciously or on purpose. Let's put it like this. But with this being said, I'm going to see you the next time. So, bye-bye.